Okay, so we are live now. Good evening, everyone. Um, Good evening, everyone. We are just we've gone live now, so we're just about to start now. I just want to say good evening to everyone for joining us tonight. So before we start, I just want us to do a little bit of introduction before we start. My name is Deji Bayo, and I'm part of the Nigerian Diaspora Network UK chapter. So we go over to Dr. Amino, please, if you just want to introduce yourself before we start.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Amino Amadu, and I'm part of the Nigerian Diaspora Network, London, UK chapter. Thank you.
Then over to you, O Square.
Yeah. Hi, Petra. I'm so excited to see you, and thank you for the honor to participate in this interactive live chat tonight. Yeah, my name is Ofodare Okpanachi, but I mean people know me as Oskoe. Oskoe Okpanachi is a popular one, they know me, and one of the founding members of Nigerian Diaspora Network UK chapter.
Thank you, sir. So we go over to, I think we've got Mr. Akin as well, and Uncle Sam from the United States. And let's go over to our lady in the house, Petra. If you want to introduce yourself, please.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Petra Akinti Onyebule, and I'm here on the invitation of Oskwe Okpanachi. Good evening.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. Okay, over to you, Mr. Wale Hastrop. If you just want to do a little bit of introduction, please, before we start.
Good evening. My name is Adewale Hastrop. I was invited by Mr. Onokpachi.
Okay.
Okpanachi, sorry.
we will forgive you for that. All right. Thanks for joining us, sir. And over to you, Uncle Sam from the United States. I think you're muted, sir. Yeah, we still cannot hear you. Okay, so while we wait for Uncle Sam, let's go over to Mr. Akin. If you want to do a little bit of introduction, please, before we start.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, we're still at work here.
Okay, that's fine.
Permit us to just be part of it silently.
Okay, that's all right.
I want to say thank you so much. My name is Aketunde Ademola. I'm part of the team. I'm from the US chapter, and we are solely behind you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And let's go over to Uncle Sam. Let's see if...
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now, loud and clear.
Okay. Yeah, I want to thank everybody for for coming tonight. My name is Sam Atolai. I'm one of the UK chapter members and the international coordinator for NDN, and I heard of the great work that you guys are doing over there. I've had the opportunity to speak with you once, and I just want to say I'm glad and honored that I'm here tonight.
Thank you, sir, for joining us tonight. So this is our second interactive chat. The last one we did was about 2 weeks ago, where we spoke about the image of Nigeria. To all our viewers back home, watching us tonight, we would love you to share this link. And just like we said earlier on, it's going to be very interactive. So your opinions matter a lot as well. So as we are about to start, we are going to be talking about the security challenges in our dear country, Nigeria. So we are just going to be talking more on the solutions. We know there are issues. There's no place in this world, as we all know, that there are no issues. So We don't want to focus too much. And I think that's one of the things that we stand for. We know that we have many issues, everywhere, especially in our country as well. But we just want to focus on how can we get things better. And as we are going to be discussing tonight, if we have to be talking about this security at length, we might even spend 5 hours still talking about the problems. So what we are going to be talking about is to be addressing the issues. We know there are issues on ground, and what are the solutions that we think might, help in leading to the advancement of the country. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So we want it to be as interactive as possible. So I'm going to just to reiterate to all the people watching back home, just to interact with us as well. So security challenges in Nigeria, I don't even know where to start from because it's kind of like a very wide topic when we're talking about security. So as they say, before we start, the more we magnify an issue, the more difficult it becomes. Do you understand? But the more we magnify solutions, the more likely that obviously everything will get resolved. So before I start, I would just want to go over to Uncle Sam from the United States chapter. How do we, I know that there are some points that we have listed already, because when we're talking about security challenges, there are many things that we can talk about. But before we start, just in few words, how do we, if you're talking about security challenges in Nigeria, what's the best way to address this? What do you think is the best way? I would love us to start with that, then before we delve into other areas. So what's the best way to address the security challenges in Nigeria? We know there are many, but just to summarize before we start, sir, over to you.
Let me just start. I may not answer the question directly, but by the time I'm done, I will have answered the question. And as we all know and understand, when you are trying to solve the problem, when you are trying to provide a solution for any type of problem, you need to understand how such a problem develops.
Absolutely.
The question is why are we here when you talk about the security of the nation? What has gone wrong? What has triggered the state of the security of that nation? Going back, at least I have spent over 50 years here now. And looking back, I realized that in those days when we were growing up, we were taught something like moral studies, even in the elementary school. You see how you can develop your morale, how you can keep the integrity of yourself and your family, and what are the things that you should do and what are the things that you should not do. I will say in our dear country, a lot of those things have been thrown into the dogs. We celebrate people who we believe they are rich without even knowing the sources of their riches, whether they make sacrifices, whether they do Yahoo, whether they do prostitution or whatsoever means of making their money, which is not clean. People in government are not transparent. We see them with flashy cars coming home. And when a young chap sees such a thing, he wants to be like them. And he wants to do whatever it takes to be like such people. Because to him, that represents success. But when you look at morale and you look at things more broadly, that really is not success. So it's just, but that is what we celebrate, and that is what is in the mind of the people. Now, let me come to why, these security challenges that we hear every day, we hear of bandits kidnapping people for ransom. We hear of even people sleeping in their homes, not just traveling, and they are being kidnapped, and they are asking for money. When you look at some of these things, you will see that some of these people can say they are greedy. Some of these people are college graduates, no work, and they have to make ends meet. Maybe they come from poor family background and they just manage to go to the university. And now they have to feed their family. So I would say that the solution would be for us to really sit down and see where are we coming from? Why did we get here? We can be pointing hands on the government. We can be saying maybe the government is not, how can I put it? It's not concerned enough. But what are the roles that each individual could play to ensure security? And I will still go back again. While I was growing up I grew up in a village. We knew nearly everybody within the community. When we see a strange face, we ask questions. We want to know when the guy got into this, into the community, what he's doing in the community, is he has to stay or something like that. Even if we say that the government could not keep data, accurate data, what of the people around who are seeing strange things happening? What are they doing about it? So one of the things that I think we could do is to be more conscious of the community where we live, the people that we hang around with, the people that we interact with, so that we can know them. And when we see any strange face, there is nothing bad in asking questions. And there's nothing bad in trying to interact. When
So sorry to cut in. So what are you talking about? Local policing, like what we have at the moment in some areas in Nigeria?
Local policing is one aspect of it, but we as individuals, not even as policemen. Okay, I'm just thinking of what an individual could do to safeguard the community. Any strange movement, any strange case could be reported, because it's not everything that the agencies will see. It's not everything that they will know. And we live in a country where we do not have accurate data. Okay, and so things move around so quickly. So we as individuals, like in those days in towns and cities, we have kings, we have obas, we could report strange things too. We could still do the same thing here. Now, that is taking it from the very bottom. Now, when coming up, you can now start talking about maybe state police. Yeah, state police could help because they are local, they know their people, they know how to interact with people, they know how to respond to issues because they are local. State policing is presently not informed in Nigeria. And,
so the simple solution to that, sir, sorry to just cut you in there, because I'm just conscious of the 1 hour that we have. Sorry for that. So the easy solution to that now is to just have kind of like, let's not focus on the police force that we have. We focus on them, but we still have some groups, local groups, that would ensure that the security challenges have been overcome. So is that what you're trying to say, sir?
That is what
in a nutshell. Okay.
In a nutshell, right from the very bottom. But the government still has responsibilities. But we as individuals should should first of all perform what we're supposed to perform for.
Okay, thank you so much for your contribution. I think that's a very valid point, because if you see some other countries in the United States or UK and some other European countries, they're still the same police force, but they have different, for each region, they have different. So which makes it easier for them to be able to tackle security issues. So thank you for your contribution, sir. Now let's go to, we know the main thing that is really affecting us in the country of Nigeria when it comes to insurgency, like banditry and kidnapping. So just in few words, what is the best way? I think that's the best way to start tonight. So what is the best way to tackle that? And I'm going to go over to Mr. Agbaje joining from Nigeria, because Mr. Agbaje is on ground, obviously. Let's say it as it is. I think the people on ground, they know better than we do sometimes. So let me go over to Mr. Agbaje.
In 5 minutes.
In few words, I think 5 minutes is a little too much. In few words, how do we tackle the insurgency issues, banditry, kidnapping happening back home? What is the best way to tackle it without talking politics?
Okay. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on this platform. I think, like I've always said it the last time. Are we looking for a quick solution that doesn't go beyond that moment? Or we're looking for a permanent solution? The solution we have. Security has to go back to the locals.
Okay.
Because for every crime that is committed, it starts at the local level before it becomes a state crime, and then before it gets into federal. I used an example the last time about the days where robbery was very, where it was a visible thing in the Ijebu axis of Ogun State back then. And what did they do? The obas of those zones came together, agreed on a security network, created vigilante groups, and over time that was curbed. And it became a permanent solution.
Yeah, I think the connection is not really
for
clear.
every bandit that operates within a particular zone. Oh, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear
Go
you
ahead,
now.
please. Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Okay. Now.
Yeah.
For every bandit or any kidnapper, they come from a base. Some people know them. Pick up local intelligence. In 1991, my father retired as an assistant general of police in 1981. Sometime in the early 90s, we had this houseboy who forgoed my father's room, and he ran back to his base, to his local place in Calabar. When the policemen came to the house, the only question they asked, has he ever lived in Lagos before? They said no. So they said, okay, they know where to find him. We gave them 7 days. By the 6th day,
Hello, I think the network is really bad. So Mr. Agbaje,
to pick up local intelligence. Sorry.
Oh, sorry for that. Yeah, sorry. I think what you are saying is that we should go back to local policing, and that's what Uncle Sam also said earlier on. I think that's the main point.
If you can hear me, let me rejoin again. I'll rejoin again.
Okay, then.
Yeah,
okay,
that's
thank
fine.
you. So that's a very valid point.
I'll rejoin again.
Okay, that's fine. So we are talking
Thank you.
about the same thing. That's a very valid point, and that brings me to the question now that. Let's start with that local policing. It's not that we are not getting rid of the state or the federal, whatever, but it starts from the local axis. So now, what is stopping us from going along that line? And I think that's like $1 million question. What is actually stopping us? We know this seems to be the way out. So I'll go over to let me go over to Mr. O Square, Daniel. So what is stopping the federal government from looking into local policing from the maybe let's say state level, then before we go to the federal level?
Thank you. If you don't mind, before I speak, I would love to give an opportunity to the lady among us, to speak to us.
Okay.
And she is one of the people on ground. I'm happy to introduce her as she might not want me to introduce this, but I will definitely have to do it anyway. She is the former press secretary to Kogi State Governor.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and
thanks for joining us.
Yes, so she's been part of government for a long time, and she's currently a private citizen who is so passionate about Nigeria, and it is on that premise that I invited her to this interactive section this evening for her to share light on the topic. Please, Petra, if you don't mind, you could take it up from here.
Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. And
thank you. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much, O Square, and thank you very much, everyone. I'll quickly say that as much as I agree that community policing is very key, we need to understand the scope with which the so-called bandits. I have a problem with that word banditry. What's going on in Nigeria is not banditry. Bandits don't kidnap and abduct hundreds of students at a go. You need some sort of elaborate logistics to move students from one location to another location. You need some sort of network to collect ransoms, not before collection of ransom, to negotiate over days, with people moving from a location to another location, negotiating with representatives of community members, in some cases, parents of students that are abducted. You need some sort of network and elaborate logistics to be able to receive money and receive motorbikes and operate unhindered. That's not banditry in a regulated space, in a space that is supposed to be sovereign. That is not banditry. So my first concern has always been, why are we not addressing the problems the way they are? Understanding and accepting problems for what they are is the very first step to even solving the problem. So we are looking for solutions. One has cancers and you are focusing on the headache. You say, oh, it's the headache, it's the headache. You give Panadol, you give analgesic, then what? The headache disappears for a couple of minutes or hours at most and returns because the fundamental reason is still there. The cancer, there is a growth. It might be benign, and as you continue to play with it, giving aspirin and Panadol for the symptom, the cancer becomes malignant. I think that is where we are right now, such that people are no longer even bothered by this news. You hear that 79 students had been adopted, some of them as young as 10, some 8, 7, and you just go, oh, wow, that's sad. And people move on immediately. For me, that's a major problem, that we are no longer outraged, that we are not even surprised about this sort of news. And then in the news, we are hearing that they are called bandits. Really? These are no bandits. So these bandits that we want to now, so-called bandits, terrorists, operating full scale, I call it the economic business, the economic side of terrorism, because I suspect very strongly that terrorists use these ransoms from abductions to do their sort of counterpart funding. Absolutely. I believe that they get international funding, but they have to bring something to the table themselves. So for me, I believe very strongly that that is how, you know, they bring their own parts to the table. So I as much as I think that community policing is key, I'm wondering how much community members who in some instances are forced to pay taxes to terrorists are going to be the ones that will police the same terrorists. How is that going to work? Of course, we are not going to magnify the problems, but then if there is no trust, we can't remove the element of trust and distrust, however we look at it, from providing solutions. The whole insecurity has been so politicized that people do not know how to approach, you know, helping, being part of the security network. I, for instance, would be afraid to go and report anybody to the police. Why? Because I don't even know if the police is their mentor. I don't know if the police is their sponsor. I don't know if the police would give information that, oh, it's Petra in so-so estate that has come to report you. And then what? And then you lose your life in Nigeria. Everybody talks about it on social media and they move on. Because we do not value life, we do not respect the sanctity of the human life in this country, people are afraid to be patriotic to the point of losing their lives because people just move on. So it will be your family, your parents, if you have, your children, if you have, that will bear the brunt forever. In a couple of weeks, people don't even remember your name. Wow. So it's so difficult unless there is trust. There has to be trust. Every year, we've been hearing about billions of naira buying equipment. You are buying equipment, but nobody is being held responsible. Who are the financiers? Sometimes we see some riffraffs paraded before the media and we are told, oh, we have arrested 30 kidnappers, we have arrested 50 bandits, we have arrested 100 terrorists, and Nigerians cheer. Do we ever find out what's happening with them? Who sponsors them? Who buys them weapons? Who is them? Because if you do not get the sponsors, there is nothing. You arrest 100. How come is it that we are arresting and the more we arrest, more people come up? Because we are not treating this problem from the roots. If we do not uproot the problem, you cut the stem. This stem, because when it rain falls on the stub, it grows again.
Yeah.
It grows again. So you're arresting this, you are not doing anything about it. So some of us have become jaded because we feel that successive governments have not been sincere about the fight to end terrorism and insecurity. And it goes beyond community policing. I resigned as chief press secretary to the governor, and I'm one of the strongest critics sometimes of my former boss. But one thing I give to him is that he's a very security conscious person. The way he dealt with insecurity, I'm not saying that in Kogi State there is no insecurity, but it's been reduced to the barest minimum. Before he came on board, Kogi State was a hotbed for robberies, for kidnappings. There was no week that a bank in Kogi State was not robbed and people killed. And then he came and he destroyed their hideouts and he arrested some sponsors. Oh, of course, opposition said it was politics. I don't know about that, but what I do know for sure is that it reduced drastically. He went to their hideouts, and he leveled them down. So that reduced a lot of cases of kidnappings and, bank robberies. I think that if every state now can do more of that, it reflects generally, because I think federation is made up of the states. If all states can do more of that and take insecurity and securing the lives and property of people that governors govern, if they take it a lot more seriously, then it would reflect. But like I say, we can speak all the English that we want to speak here. We can write all the articles that we want to write, but we have to first and foremost acknowledge what is going on and the scope of what is going on and call insecurity by its name. We are being terrorized. Nigeria is dealing with terrorism, and then try to address the problem as it is. That for me is the first.
Thank you so much for that informative contribution. I would love to ask, personally, I would love to ask, two questions. One for Mr. Agbaje, if you want to start getting ready, and we come to Mr. Astrop later. So over to you, Petra. I just want to ask this question. You said something about the reason why I'm picking out Kogi State, because you mentioned the state, that the security challenges have been reduced. Now, I know this happens in most of the nations. Can you tell me that, okay, you can deal with security issues at the expense of development? If you understand the question.
I do, because it's a raging and an ongoing debate where supporters of the president, I'm sorry to bring this up, we say we don't want to politicize, but it is what it is. You say, oh, people are being killed, people are not safe, I can't just travel by road without having my heart in my mouth. And supporters of the president say, oh, but we have rails, oh, but we have Second Niger Bridge coming up. So that question is there, like, is it human life versus infrastructure? Is it not the living that, uses this infrastructure? So I'm sure if you conducted a poll today and asked Nigerians which they would prefer, stay alive and have peace of mind, or be, in a hostage situation in your own country because of fear and have infrastructure, which would you prefer? I'm very sure that majority would prefer that they are able to go about their everyday businesses and have peace of mind, having faith to a large extent in the ability of their country and their states to secure their lives and their movements, to having all this other infrastructure. So I would say, for instance, if I were governor today, I would spend more than half of the resources that we have to provide, security, make sure the state is secure and safe, so that people can at least go about their normal businesses, even if that would mean that we do not have enough infrastructure, it had to be, if it has to be one or the other, then it's security.
Okay, thank you for that. Now over to you, Mr. Astrop. Now, I got a comment. Let me just read it out. Someone said, he just sent a message on Facebook saying, but our media houses continue calling them bandits. So what role is the media playing in all of this? Over to you, Mr. Astrop.
That is very strong.
Oh, I think you are muted at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, that's fine.
For me, I think, and because I'm not on ground, I don't have much to say, but in my own opinion, I think some of these things, as much as they happen for real, I think they are, what's the word? More or less like over exaggerating it.
Yeah.
That's the word. Yeah. Yes, I know this thing happens daily. We read it on a daily basis. But in my own opinion, I think it's bad. But the way the pressmen go about it, it's like really, really over exaggerated. Because I read something yesterday about, I don't know whether it's true or not, all these things, but something about, ever since Sunday Igboho had been arrested, there hasn't been any herdsman attack in his state. Now, that for me, in a way, I think the way the writer, and that's my interpretation, that the way the writer was putting it across that, listen, they are the people that create this thing, and they're the same people that are saying, we want
them to leave.
Exactly. So it's, to me, it's more or less like, yes, these things do happen, but I think the media, or in the event of social media, are exaggerating most of these things. I can remember, I think it was O-Square that posted it, if I'm right. They posted something that, herdsmen are killing people, and the date they put was ahead of the time that it happened. So it's like they're saying something happened yesterday, tomorrow's date, and they put it on today. So in a way, we agree that these things happen, but I think someone somewhere just decided, you know what, I want to see traffic on my handle or whatever, and post something, and everyone rushes to it and things like that. So as I said, yes, these things do happen, but I think with social media and the press as they are, I know I'm not a politician, but I have an uncle who was a politician, who you tell the press boys what you want them to write. Be it the truth or not, you give them money, they'll write what you want them to. So for me, it's a way, it's a thing that has to be, it's just not about the terrorist alone or the herdsmen or whatever. I think it's like an ongoing thing, and there's a lot of things, as Petra said, we're not dealing with the roots. Yes, it's out there, but I think there are little things that has to be done to correct these things. And until the roots of the whole issue is dealt with, before we can have a solution.
Thank you for your contribution. Let me just touch on what Petra just said. That it shouldn't be about the numbers, though. The life of one person means so much to their family, to their loved ones, and should mean that much to the country as well. I totally agree. Just
Akin Ademola sent that.
Okay, was it Akin? I think it was Petra that sent it. Yes. So now over to Mr.
I sent that.
I think someone is playing it back. Let me just mute.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sorry for that. Now, let me go over to, there are many questions here. I'm just trying to read what someone sent now. Yes, sir. The Nigerian media is more about brown envelopes. Okay. Spend more than half of state money on security. What about other sectors that make up the system? And I think that's what Petra was trying to say. Is it possible to get everything that we want? Focus on security and at the same time, focus on development. Maybe that's what we'll discuss later. But before we go over to that, let me go to Mr. Agbaje. Now, this is $1 million question here. How do we deal with the root, not the stem of the issues? Because according to what everybody has said, is that we are cutting the branch, not even cutting the stem, we are cutting the leaves, and it keeps on growing back. So how do we call cancer and not call it headache? Mr. Agbaje, over to you, please.
Sorry. Okay,
hello, go over, sir.
Yeah, sorry.
You can go on, sir. Go on, sir.
My network was a bit bad. I didn't really hear you very well.
Okay, what I said is that I don't know, maybe you've been listening to us, that we are not dealing with the root of the issue. We are just hearing politics, just to say it in a nutshell.
Yes, the truth about it is
the lady in the house, Petra, said that we are just calling that name banditry. There's nothing like that.
No, we know. I understand that very.
So how do we deal with the root of the matter?
You see, I understand that very well. I spoke in the context of maybe everybody understanding the fact that it wasn't about the name. I'm talking about the incidents that have happened. And like I said, I heard that when she said that people will go to who will want to go and report to the police to go and check. It doesn't work that way in local policing. Let me be very serious with you. Even in the Constitution of Nigeria, there is a place where it is written that the local governments should have their own security outfit. And every local government, most local governments that have their own security, they have mostly the people who reside in that local government as the security people. The information you pick within the locality is not by people coming to report to you. It's about you interacting with people, interfacing with them. For instance, you are at a party, you are at a wedding. You're sitting down in your locality at the wedding. People are having discussion. Have you seen Yemi? Have you seen Mr. Agbaje? He just bought a G-Wagon. You have picked one information from there. Before you know, you begin to find out what Mr. Agbaje is actually doing. That's what I'm talking about. I understand at one point. I understand the fact that it's being called banditry to make it look different from terrorism or anything. Yes, the bottom line is that it's still a crime. Whether it is well organized, whether it is the one that you just do impulsively, it is still a crime.
So what's the best way to deal with it? Yes.
The best way to deal with it is to give power back to the three levels of government. At their levels, let them operate separately. You remember that in our Nigerian constitution, there's a place where our obas are entitled to a certain amount of money within the allocations of the local government. And an oba is like a face of the locality where he's the oba. He will not want anybody. He will not want his base. I'll give an example. Let's use the Oba of Iwo, who seems to have a negative press image in the eyes of Nigerians. But let me be very candid with you. Nothing negative can happen in Iwo as long as that guy is the king of Iwo. You know why? He's been extremely close to his people. He's done so much for his people that he's made their life a little bit more easier, in the sense that even the houses along the road by his palace, he's tried to redevelop it for them so that it will look good. How do I paint my own palace and leave other people bare? So he's kept them, so they are extremely close to him. Because they're close to him, it's easy for him to pick news about negatives that are happening within his locality. That's what I'm telling you. So if you go back to your base, the autonomies that the president decided to give to the arms of government is what we should go and pursue. We should go after it. We should let the governors know that they must assent to it. If they assent to it, we'll be fine. If they don't assent to it, we will not have a way. Let me tell you one thing. The last two assemblies before this last assembly at the national level, they gave them proposal for state police twice. They turned it down twice. The Saraki era and the one before it, they turned it down. They knew what they were doing because they were benefiting from the structure. If we don't go back to having every level of government to have their own, I'm saying federal, state, and the local government, we go back to the real residual list, the real exclusive list, and the real concurrent list, where it is clearly stated what your responsibilities are. But the governors don't want to do it because if they do it, it will reduce their influence within the locality.
Yeah,
so that's the reason.
Okay.
So that's where we are. They won't do. Yes, it will reduce it because you give financial autonomy to the local government and their independence. You give it to the state assembly. You give it to the state judiciary. What's the power of the executive of the state? It's gone by almost.
In order to summarize this, sorry, Oscar. In order to summarize this, so we're still talking about the same word, corruption.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, it is in all aspects of our life. Okay. Every aspect of our life. When you, for instance, I've been living in Ikeja since 1980. There's hardly anybody I don't. I mean, when I say anybody, I'm talking about any major person who has lived around like that. I don't know in Ikeja.
Thank you for your contribution, Mr. Agbaje. Okay. I think that's a very valid point. Going back to federal, state, and local level. And we're still talking about the same word corruption, which is obviously in every nation, but it's just that it's more pronounced in some nations than the other. So over to you, Mr. Osquare. What's your contribution to this? Thank you for that, Mr. Agbaje.
Yeah, no, basically, mine is not actually contribution. I mean, because we're anchoring the program already, and of course, we've got a lot of people who are on ground to share more light on the topic today. My concern is, and my question, basically, I will direct my question to Mr. Odaudu, and it pleases my heart again to introduce Odaudu. Odaudu is also a former special assistant to the governor, and it's one of the guys who were very honest with the governor, but it didn't go down well with the governor, so they have to leave. So, and I applaud them, and it's on that basis that I feel like these are guys that we should have on this platform to talk to us, basically. Odaudu, why do you think it is so difficult? Because everybody, from what Petra said and to what Mr. Agbaje said, and all, it looks like the solution actually it's when power actually goes back to the basis, to the level at which, because I completely agree with Mr. Agbaje. If you live in a community whereby, okay, I'll use North, for example. Aminu grew up in the North, so you understand. When you go to the North and you see a rich man who lives living a luxurious life, there are poor people living around him. What he does every morning when he's going out in the morning, he shares money to them. When he's coming back in the evening, he shares money to them. So they are always there every day doing rank candidate to him. They don't have problem with him. They will not, because they feel like he relates with them, he gives them, he shares with them, and all that. Those guys will even protect him if anything will happen to him. So that gives you a slight idea what it will look like if power actually goes down to the people from local level, state level, and federal, and even up to community, ward. But what we have today is nothing to write home about. We have local government system whereby all the local government chairmen are completely pocketed. They are actually told what to do. Some of them, this is an information I got, that some of them were actually given a resignation letter, signed. Signed. The only thing that is not on it is date. So when you go against the instruction of the governor, all they need to do is just to append date on it, and you are gone. So Mr. Odaudu, why is it difficult for us to actually practice that system that will drastically reduce the insecurity in Nigeria?
Thank you, Oscar, for making me part of this discourse. You see, I am tired of making abstractive analysis on the situation in the country, particularly the security situation. Let me just give you a brief story. I was in Sokoto in July, from the 26th of July till the 25th of last month. I was in Sokoto. That was about a month. And I can tell you this, the number of Sundays I went to church, I schooled in Yusuf Danfodio University, Sokoto. I spent 7 years in Sokoto before I left. And in 2011, I was in Sokoto. The situation was still what it was while I was still a student there. But coming to this year, I got to Sokoto. The churches, particularly I attend 2 churches while in Sokoto. I have my local church and then Living Faith Church. When you get to Living Faith Church, it's a place where things happen every Sunday. Sunday service, boom, we'll have 2 services. But today, I think my 4 weeks in Sokoto, I got to church and discovered that the population has been reduced to just 15%. And you ask anybody who lives in Sokoto right now, who attends Living Faith Church, the church that has 2 services, people have left. Everybody that are non-Hausas are leaving the North en masse. The issue is security. The life of no one is the life of Nigerians are no longer guaranteed. And what is the reason why it's happening so? See, until we have a system where the head, those in government, the leaders, I'm starting my analysis from the leaders. If the leaders of the country are not honest enough and not having that political will to change the situation, security situation in this country, nothing can happen. Let's forget about the fact that if we are going to analyze it from a situation from the angle of having a state security, a local government security, where we compartmentalize the security responsibilities. That is not even the issue here right now. What we have right now is, now that the security is concentrated in the hands of the federal government, is the government honest enough about the security situation in the country on how to solve it? Can we take it from there? Whether we have a president who is honest enough to, and also have the political will to ensure that things get ameliorated, things get resolved, then before we compartmentalize it, that is where the analysis should start from. Right now, if we discuss, let us not be talking about what is written in textbooks. I'm sorry to say, my apologies. But until those who are the helm of affairs right now, particularly President Muhammadu Buhari, he gets security reports on a daily basis. He knows what is happening in the country. But I can say, maybe perhaps he has the will. Let me say, perhaps, so in capital letters and in quote, he is willing to ensure that he does the right thing to bring this country, to bring peace and protection and the security of lives of our people back the way it was before he came into power. Until the president is ready to do that, let's forget about we bringing up the idea of having a state police, having a community, local government police, and having a community policing. Let me tell you one thing. In where I come from, like in Kogi State, there's the community police is operating. But I can tell you, community policing operating in our area is being operated by those we call, in quote, the big bad boys. Somebody who will take his gun and go and shoot someone. In those days, those who were giving guns, those who make attempts, those who were burning houses, and those making those like, we find it difficult to go home. The fear of those that makes it difficult for us to go home are those ones, the security of the community is residing in their hands. Are those ones in whose the security of that community is residing. So how do you go home safe? Those who held guns in 2007, in 2011, in 2015 and 2019, they are the ones in charge of community policing. So how is it happening? Though we know that the local government today is an extension of each of the government houses in the 30 states. And because it is so, whatever is being dictated by the governor is what happens at the local level. Now, all these governors you can see, they are all even helpless in this situation. They are all helpless. A governor will sit in the state and then they haven't gotten to look at what the governor Masari in Aminu Bello Masari of Katsina State, he has said it. Look, defend yourself in whichever way you can. Benue State is saying the same thing. And I think Zamfara Agusu said the same thing recently. Now, the only way we can salvage the current...
Sorry to cut you. Now,
yes.
I think you are bringing us back to the same same solution we are talking about, that the governors themselves are coming out to say, defend yourself. Is that not an indirect way of saying, of taking power back to the people that we're asking for?
Yes, power is being taken to the people. Two things. Let me take you to Governor Tom's statement. If you have bows and arrows, yes, we in our communities who have bows or arrows, who have cutlasses. Then those who are coming to attack us are coming with AK-47, Mark 4, Mark 10, Mark 12, and AK-49. How do you defend yourself?
Exactly.
Then those in authority, they are very much aware of the weapons and let me say ammunition and arms being used by the attackers. Just like Mrs. Onyebule mentioned some minutes ago. She said, look, those who are attacking the people are not supposed to be named bandits. They are not bandits. And she gave the perfect description of what banditry is. She gave, so to speak. Now, there are terrorists attacking and sacking communities. And the federal government is not actually being honest in labeling them who they are. So how do you think things will walk down at the community or local government level? That is the issue. That's the issue. So I think at this point, if we are to be given the power to defend ourselves, let those ones who are arming the bandits or the terrorists, let those arms be withdrawn. Let them be captured, let them be prosecuted, let them be disarmed, and then we can find ways to defend ourselves. If not, right now, Nigerians are defense. There's nothing you can do to defend yourself, because whatever weapons you have to defend yourself, those who are coming after you or they're coming to attack you, I have more weapons that are, more lethal than what you have.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Odaudu. I mean, that was quite insightful. I mean, sometimes when I listen to this situation in Nigeria, especially when it has to do with security, probably we might have to come back to this topic again and just to talk more about it, because we've got a lot of people that would love to share stuff with us today. Mr. Olalekon, if you can hear, please, I'm sure you can hear us, right? Please, what do you think the issue is, and how do you think this can be minimized?
Thank you very much, O Square. I'm glad to be here again today. I'm sorry that I came late. I was in another meeting. And I'm glad to see Petra here. I've been seeing her on Facebook, so I can see her face here. Odaudu, I'm not sure if I pronounced that name very well.
Correct.
I will say something personal. Let us remove anger out of this. What do I mean by that? You are passionate about what you are saying. There's a lot of truth in what you are saying, but there are certain things that somebody that I respect very well says is just an impotent anger. We cannot do anything for now with federal government to tell them what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and all that. The task at our hand now is to slowly correct things. Let me tell you this, as soon as Nigerians, those ones that you're talking about, know even what we are doing now, they are going to find a solution to thwart it, because that's what they survive on. It's for some reason that we have a 70-something-year-old man being the president. It shouldn't be the norm. What is you and I doing? We are young men, right? Unfortunately, that is the case now, right? And such a person depends on people around him to get some things done.
That's true.
Whether we like it or not, the president of Nigeria is probably the most powerful man in this world because he can do whatever he likes and nothing happens. Not even the president of the US that can bomb your house from anywhere because he won't. There are checks and balances. So what I want us to do is more of, let's leave the reactions, the blood boiling out. Let us think strategically, or what can we do such that maybe in the next 5 years, when those things are materializing, it will be too late for them to be able to stop what we are starting. Okay. What do I mean by that? If I tell you, Odaudu, that something is happening in your village now, do you have a mechanism to say it is true or not? I don't have it in my village. And what that means is that if you are going home, you have to find another way and probably not go home. And the perception of security and real security is actually what we are dealing with. Yemisi spoke about that. And I think one other person, after I joined, spoke about that. There is the real security issue, and there's a perception of security problem. What we have is more of perception problem. And I give an example. Sometimes in February of 2020, I had to attend a conference in Abuja from Enugu. Even though I live in Maryland as we speak, I regard Enugu as my home. Okay, and I had to travel along all those roads all the way to Abuja. And I can see checkpoints everywhere stopping us, right? These checkpoints are more of a nuisance. You stop, come out of your vehicle, they check you. 5 meters or 10 meters in the bush, what do they know? Reality. They're standing on that road and they're hoping that whoever is going to cause trouble, real or imagined, will have to pass through that road. That's usually not the case. Nigeria is so big that we are not ready for what is happening now. I went all the way to Abuja, my heart in my mouth, nothing happens. And I was like, yeah, these people are doing a good job. But no, they are not doing a good job. They cannot do a good job. Because sorry,
Mr. Lekon, sorry to cut in because of time.
Okay,
so
I'm sorry.
What do you think the government or individually, what do you think in 2 minutes you think can be done to minimize the situation we find ourselves?
So what I just want to quickly talk about is between perception and reality. Can we start looking at low-hanging fruit of how do we position ourselves all around the country where we can say this happened and this did not first? That I think we can achieve. That way, when we have some real record, I won't be arguing with Osinachi. I won't be arguing with anybody that something is happening. I won't be saying it's political by a political opponent that wants to derail Mr. President. I won't be saying, because I'm PA to the governor, something happened. Let us have real statistics. And we can do that.
Are we talking about technology?
Yes. If you have, any one of our young boys that with a camera now can actually show us what is happening anywhere, just like we're on Zoom now. And we can find a way to document all that and start really having a real idea of what is going on in the country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Petra, I saw you put your hand up. You want to add something to that?
Yes, I appreciate my journey in this conversation this night. I don't think I would have the opportunity to. That's why I just want next time. That's why I just want to drop this I'm about to say now. That I'm not trying to dampen the spirit, but this is not the first of this kind of initiative that we have seen over time. What usually happens is, a group of patriotic people who are burning with desire and zeal to rescue Nigeria come together, and close to election, people's biases and idiosyncrasies begin to creep in. And, people start, the arguments begin, and before you know it, the group just dies, it fizzles out. Because if I see Osinachi, for instance, is NDN right here, and he's saying, let us talk about insecurity and how to ensure that 5 years down the line, we have a more secure Nigeria. We have a Nigeria that those of you in diaspora can easily believe the stories that come out from, and that you would have no qualms going home and visiting any part of the country. And tomorrow I see you saying that, oh, it's PDP. It's PDP that is doing all of this. Nigeria is so safe. Nigeria is so secure. I begin to question your intention. I begin to question why you are a member of this group. I don't know if you understand it. I'm using you because you are my friend and brother, and it's you I know here. So it can happen with any other person. I see you saying something different in a public platform, which is totally at variance with what's happening here, because this is supposed to be a non-partisan group that is supposed to call a spade by its name. And tomorrow I see you, being so partisan, allowing your bias to, overshadow. I'm going to question it, and I'm going to withdraw my interest in this group and your conversations. And it's not going to just dampen mine. It's going to affect the potential people that I could win over to this group. And when you multiply that by Odaudus, by any other persons that could think and reason like me, then you see that the group will just die a natural death. God forbid that that happens to this group. So I'm just dropping that for you guys to, be sure that this is what you want to do on the long term, and to know that this is not something that even 5 years is not enough to affect any significant impact and change. But if it is something you want to do, think about it before you put your hands on the plow, so that when you put your hands there, you do not look back. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Petra. I mean, that is quite, I appreciate that. Thank you very much for pointing that out. Thank you. Dr. Aminu, we've not heard from you today.
Yeah, I just wanted to, because we're anchoring, so I just have to leave the floor for our guests to talk. In addition to what Petra just said, that's a very valid point, because if you notice, what we're trying to do here, we are solution-based, because we don't want to make it another critic group, because we are aware that Nigerian is deteriorating in terms of security. And I like to add, it doesn't matter what they call it. They can call it bandits, they can call them crook. But what we should be focused on is how to solve the problem. Even if they call them crooks and they're terrorists, we know what they are, but they can brand them. The naming is not really important in this case. We are not trying to look into the definition by dictionary. Was the solution. And adding to what you're saying, we have set this thing up, we've made it non-partisan in such a way that we don't bring politics. And that's why we are not talking about this government is not doing this, not doing that. We're trying to see how we can get this thing going. And I know it's not going to be easy, but we can start, because the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. And bringing like minds like us together in this forum, everyone's contributing in so much way. It means a lot to us, and we keep pushing hopefully we're going to get there, and we know we'll go back to that old days, because back in the days when someone moves into a neighborhood, people come to your house and say, oh, welcome, I'm this neighbor and everything. They give you gifts. It's a way of keeping the people in check. They know who was moved in, because if the enemy within does not bring an outsider, there's no way anyone can come and steal anything from the neighborhood. So wherever it starts from home, even if you're going to rob a bank, there have to be an insider to give the information of what's happening and everything. So if we go back to those days, go back to the grassroots and knowing who we're living with, I think it's going to go a long way in solving. I know it's very easy to say the government will do this, the government will do that, but we're not having that now. We want to think about what can we do as individuals, one at a time, to reach out to people. It's not going to be a quick process, but surely we can get there if we keep focused. So that's what we're all about. And let's try as much as possible not to be on the critic side so much, and it's about the positive vibes that we are here. Thank you very much.
Sorry, if I may talk, sorry, I just want to, thank you, Petra, for bringing that up. What this group stands for really is, just as we said, there have been so many negative things written about Nigeria. We just want to be positive. We believe there's no challenges and there's no hurdle that cannot be overcome. We're not partisan, we're not PDP. Everybody, every human being, is free to be a political leader, but within the group, we are not. We just want to resolve issues. We want to make our voices known. We want to be able to reach out, okay, and resolve issues. That is what we stand for. So, and please, you could tell as many people as possible. And though we understand what you have said, we are going to guide against that too. But I think we are rigid in we are resolute in what we believe in. That we are not participants. Thank you.
Yeah, all right. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for throwing more light on that. Thank you, Petra, for your contribution. We had someone who just joined us. Is it True Light? Is it Temi? Temi, are you there? If you're there, can we just meet you, please, quickly? Temi, you are still okay. Good. Thank
Hi,
you.
everyone. My name is Temi Tope Adelaide. I just got the invite from a friend not too long ago, and that's excuse me. excuse me. Okay. Yeah, I just got the invite from a friend. So I just clicked on joined now, and I'm just hearing bits and pieces, but I would follow up to understand what the group is all about. And yeah, I would have to, or one of the group admin can get in touch, so I would know a lot more about the group. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't know, Mr. Akin, I'm not sure he's able to talk, because I remember he said that he's still at work and he's trying to join us. But Mr. Akin, if you are able to talk now, we're happy to hear from you. Okay, it seems to be having a network challenge there. Okay. All right. Yeah. Hello, Mr. Akin, are you still there? Okay. Yeah. So Mr. Akin is having issue with the network. So like Mr. Samuel said earlier, the idea of this group is we're trying to approach the issue in Nigeria from a different perspective this time around. We've had people, we know 95% of Nigerians, I'm not sorry to say, we are very critical of the situation in Nigeria. We have more critics in Nigeria than people who actually come up with solution. And this is why we thought about, okay, you know what? I think we are coming together because we still have this hope, and this we still have this hope we still have this belief in Nigeria that things can still get better. We've decided to come together to speak to Nigeria of our dream, Nigeria of our dream, in the sense that how do you want to see, what kind of Nigeria are you visualizing? When I was talking to my friend Petra, there was this phrase that came to my head. I was like, you cannot feature in a future that you cannot picture, So what kind of Nigeria are we picturing? Until we're able to picture the kind of Nigeria we want, we cannot even feature in that future, which is why okay, you know what? We've had this, we know that there are bad security situation in Nigeria. We know the economy is in shambles. We know there is banditry, whatever name you want to give to it. I mean, all those things are happening. However, what can we do? If the government is not listening, is it because people are not speaking out enough? If people are not speaking out enough, now we're going to add our voices to the voices that are already speaking, and hopefully it will be louder enough someday that we will get things right and get Nigeria moving again. This is why we set up this group. And I mean, I appreciate everyone who has joined us this evening. It's a program we will always want to have for 1 hour per day, but because everyone has something to say, everyone is the energy here is so interesting. My friend Petra was just going to join us for 15 minutes, but look at her, she's here, 1 hour gone, she's still here. That is the energy. That shows the kind of love we all have for Nigeria, and this energy, we need to keep it burning. We cannot give up on Nigeria, because we do not have any other place to call our home. This is why we have to make this work by any means. I will pass the baton to my colleague Deji to take it off from there and then to round up the meeting.
Thank you for that. Yeah, you've said it all. That's what we stand for. So obviously, I don't really need to say much on that. Obviously, we are hoping that no one becomes compromised, according to what Petra said. But that's a very valid point. Thank you for that. That brings us to, I don't know if anyone wants to conclude before because we've gone over time. And in order not to take much time again. So I don't know if anyone wants to. I think Petra
yeah.
wants to say.
Yeah.
Do you want to say something, Petra?
It was a mistake.
My hand was still up. I've lowered it.
Oh, okay. You've lowered it. Okay.
Okay, in that case, please let me say something.
All right then.
Please.
So thank you. Okay, if you want to go ahead, Mr. Oleliko. Thank you.
Yeah, Petra, everybody, even if I don't show up next week, you continue. Everybody continue. Eventually somebody, next generation will get there. Please,
that's right,
I beg you all.
That's right. That's a very good point,
Just to quickly add again, please, this group is now, we're not planning to go and meet Buhari or any governor or whatever. So, and there's a reason why we've decided to pick professionals to join, because we're not looking for who to support or who to go and bankroll us. So we are looking out for people who can support themselves so that we can move Nigeria forward. So if you're thinking maybe we are thinking of meeting somebody or want to contest for your below to support, this is not what this group is all about.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, everyone, for coming.
So basically, we are tired of selling our future. So we don't want to sell our future anymore. All right, thank you for that. Thank you to everyone for joining us and all the people that are watching online as well. We've got many comments. I don't even know where to start from, but they're actually valid points that have been made by a lot of people on the Facebook page. So thank you to everyone for joining us tonight. The next one is going to be in 2 weeks' time. I don't know, maybe we're still going to be talking about security, but as a group, we decide on what we're talking about next, because security is something that we can't even keep talking for 3 months. And obviously, so we will let you know. We want to see you all again,
please,
in 2 weeks' time. Petra, thank you for your time. Apology that obviously I didn't do proper introduction regarding you, because obviously I got to know you through O Square. So, but thank you for your time. We really appreciate it, and we'll be expecting you again in 2 weeks' time.
Please.
If you are free.
Yeah.
Because your contribution as well matters. Mr. Agbaje, all the way from Nigeria, Mr. Olalekon. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
Okay, thank you. Because as they say, we are United Kingdom or United States, but the people on ground, they know more. And I mean, let's say it as it is. They know more than we do. Do you understand? I know it's very easy to be reading media, just like Mr.
Astrop said, yeah.
Media people, they say some things that are not, sometimes they are right, but sometimes they exaggerate. So we have to still rely on the people on ground, regarding their points. So thank you to everyone for joining us tonight. I don't know if anyone wants to say the last any few words before we round up.
I just want to can I say something?
So Mr. Agbaje, if you don't mind, just in a minute, so that we
I just want to tell you that whoever I should be in London on the 18th of this month. I would like to meet the people on ground.
Great.
That would be great.
Okay.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know once I come in.
Okay.
Awesome.
So if you don't mind, I think the best, if you don't mind sharing your number, personally, I think you can send it to the email address. I think I replied your email. We replied your email. So if you reply to that email with your number, so at least, that would be great. So thank you once again for joining us, and have a good evening. Thank you to everyone.
Please feel free to drop your number with me if you want to be added to the group, so you can get subsequent information that we are sharing regarding our next meeting and our next topic. What we try to do is we try to get topic for each section that we are holding, and we get contributions, we get idea from anyone who comes up with the topic that we want to discuss. Thank you very much for participating tonight.
Then one more thing. Thank you for that, O Square. And one more thing, that reminds me. Anyone that is as well, if you want to join us, all you need to go is to go to our website, www. Sorry, just a sec. Let me start. Oh, Mr. Agbaje, all right. Yes, so the website is www.nigeriandiasporanetwork.org. So once you go on the website, just click on join us, and you can send us your details, and we'll get back to you. So thank you very much for joining us tonight, and have a good evening. Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Astrop.
Thank you, sir, for joining us tonight, Mr. Astrop.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.